Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Balearic Yacht Show. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and today I am pleased to introduce the panel Working and Living in the Balearics. Now, we have people from 3 different walks of life. We have somebody who is single, we have somebody who is part of a couple, and someone else who is part of a family, because it's very important to highlight the different types of living that you tend to do here in the Balearics. Now, introducing the single guy. How's it going, Sento?
How are you? Nice to see you again.
We're not exactly a dating site, but we can fix you up later. You are initially from the mainland, Valencia, no?
Yeah, I'm from Valencia, and I came here like 5 or 6 years ago.
And you are, of course, Spanish. You're a captain and a sailor, and you've got quite an extensive marketing background.
Yeah, I mean, I had the opportunity to mix both worlds, like working in communication and then on boats, like working for the America's Cup, things like that. And it was really good to have this opportunity. Yeah.
And you're a sailor too. Right now, actually, you're over in France to do a race?
No, it was in Spain, like in the south of Spain, in Soto Grande. Yeah, this weekend, but because of the COVID, it was canceled.
So is that what you do for fun as well as what you do for work, is sailing?
Yeah, I think sailing in dinghies is so much different about sailing in super yachts. You know, you have more feeling and more the atmosphere and the control of the boat is totally different. Then yes, for sure, for fun, I will sail. For me, it's different.
And Hamish, you work for E3 Systems. You're the sales account manager. You've lived here since 2015, very active in sports. You write for the Islander magazine, Simon Ralph, shout out. We love Simon. And you're a sailor originally from England.
Yes, yeah, not as a career. I had a career in London, working in sports marketing and PR primarily, and then an event management in the retail sector. And then we were hugely affected by the recession at the end of the noughties, and I sort of had to reinvent myself a little bit, and had all my sailing qualifications from a much earlier stage. I've got my Yachtmaster Ocean, and I used those to be a charter skipper for a while in Greece. And then I was a ski guide in Zermatt after that, and then I came to Mallorca as a sailor in 2015. And have since moved ashore and am working ashore now. Yeah, but the original thing was to come here as a sailor. Yeah.
Well, I happen to be friends with actually your other half.
Yes.
And so I see a lot of the things that you do for fun, and you guys are always on the water or hiking or some absolutely amazing outdoor activity. There's a lot to do here when you're as active as the two of you.
Yeah, there's so much, and we do make, and I think it's just incredibly usable stuff. You know, there's so much to do, whether it's, I mean, and a lot of them are my personal interests. So, you know, cycling, motorcycling, or sailing, or getting out trekking in the mountains, or going to the different things that are going on. And it's a very usable environment because the weather's usually pretty gorgeous. And I've never really been anywhere that offered all of that in such a package as we get here. And for me, it's unbeatable, and I cannot see any reason to leave, really, ever. I'm here for the duration, I think.
Are you into any sort of like extreme sports? Because I know that there is like canyoning and there's quite some extreme hikes and such. Do you do any of that?
We've done, I mean, I've done climbing before, and we did go caving earlier on this year, which was great fun. It depends. I think there's there's different views on what's extreme sports. I mean, I love open sea windsurfing in big wind and big waves, and that might be extreme, but windsurfing itself is probably not counted as an extreme sport. But we do some pretty tough cycling events, take part in those, and ride a motorbike. I don't know how extreme, depends. The extreme of that can vary from day to day, I think, a little bit.
Well, and last but not least, we have Emma. How are you, Emma?
Hi, good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Well, we've known Emma. I've known Emma for probably about 10 years now. And you've actually originally Australian, no?
Yes, yeah.
So you studied interior design when you were at school, and Then you happened to meet a captain that lured you to Mallorca, no?
Yeah, in a roundabout way via the Caribbean and America, and then over to Mallorca eventually. Yes.
And when you got to Mallorca, you were here, that was in 2001 that you moved to Mallorca.
Well, we were married in 2001. We moved here, we started living here really in 2000, I suppose. So it's a very long time ago. But, you know, we love the island, and it offers so many opportunities, especially for those in the yachting community. I mean, to me, it's the hub of the Med, and probably, yeah, the best area in the world to be, in my opinion, for if you're in the yachting community.
Well, and you had two kids. You've raised two children basically on Mallorca. Now they're actually getting a little bit older and moving out and on to school in England, et cetera. But you literally had and raised kids here. What is it like to raise children here? I mean, education wise and activity wise and opportunity wise.
Education wise, I think it's good. I have to say, you can't beat England with their schools. But activities wise, obviously it's just a wonderful, perfect, ideal world for the children to grow up in. There's always so much to do, and a great diversity in the type of people that are here, and I think culturally as well, it's wonderful. Spanish lifestyle, very easygoing, so you know, it's been great.
And for you, Sento, what do you, I mean, aside from sailing, I mean, where do you like to go out to eat? I mean, is there a lot of restaurants? Was it easy to sort of like become part of life here in Mallorca when you moved?
Yeah, on the city, it's like I like to go to have vermouth or some beers, and you can find every different kind of people in Palma, for example, like the yachting industry. But it's really easy, like to go to another bar and meet with the locals. Or also, I always say that you have like people from the island, people that there are like adopted from the island, like people that they are living here, and then we have the tourists. I just divide in these three kind of people, and yeah, and there are many things to do. I want to try I think I told you about the Seco block. It's like climbing, but on the cliff, no, with no lines. It's a bunch of things to do.
So would you recommend others to come here and to live and to work?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it seems like I never stopped to say that. It's like the quality of life here and the mix of culture. I've been living in many other countries, but you have people from other countries that they are forced to mix it because the island is too small. No, it's not like big island. And as I say, quality of life is good. Having a family here, I think, should be perfect because you can bring your kids to the school, something like that. I don't know, maybe Emma can tell more about this, but for me, it's like best spot. Like also the really good point that you can travel around Europe from the island, like easily.
And it's actually quite cheap. If you want to travel to Europe, I mean, there's resident discounts that you could get when you fly from the island to go to the mainland, which makes flights just so cheap.
Yeah, we have the 75%. And you just, I mean, flying to Madrid, go and return, maybe it's 20 euros. I mean, it's more expensive to stay on the weekend here than go to another city in Europe.
Yeah, sometimes I think I take a look at the prices of trains and a taxi ride, and it's actually less expensive to jump on a plane, head over to the mainland for a weekend, and you fly back. It's less expensive to do that than to get a cab ride home to the center of the island after a night out.
Yeah, for sure. And when you start doing that, like, I don't know, going to Madrid or Barcelona, maybe Malaga, to go to a restaurant and then come back. I mean, seems like strange, but it's super easy to do.
Hamish, you're from London. You spent quite a bit of time in London. one thing that I notice about Palma, for example, is that it has all the amenities of a large city, but it just is so much, I don't know, I would say friendlier and warmer. How do you feel? Do you feel like it has the same sort of concepts of bars and restaurants and Michelin star restaurants and things like that, all the things that a city would have to offer, but in a smaller sort of package?
Yeah, I think it's funny you say that, Rhea, because I think for me, London, I was dying to leave London really, because it's and whenever I lived there, we would always sort of take off on a Friday night and go off into the country or down to the coast and come back in on a Sunday. So for me, London was just too big and too busy, and I think Palma again is just the perfect balance. It's a really cosmopolitan city. It's year round. It's very reachable from anywhere on the island in sort of the maximum of kind of an hour, if you like, from the furthest point. But it's just the right size. I think it's like a mini Barcelona. And as Sento says, you know, you can leave here if you want the big city, a bigger city. You can leave here so easily for very little money to anywhere in Europe, really. All the regional airports for maybe, you know, often or usually less than 100 euros. So, you know, you can be in Geneva and go skiing in a couple of hours. So we're so well connected, but we've got this perfect size, little cosmopolitan city, very international, and the international community mixes as much of the Spanish and as much amongst themselves. So that for me, it just ticks the box completely. The city itself, I absolutely love it. It's beautiful. But we move around all over the island, but nights out in Palma are fantastic, really, really fantastic.
So do you think this is where you're going to spend the next foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it just ticks these boxes. And from where we live in Bendinat, you know, I can be in Palma in 8 minutes, or I can be in the mountain in 15 or 20. I can be in the beach in 2 minutes, and I can be at the airport to fly away somewhere else in 15 minutes. And all those boxes ticked for where I actually live, with an option of a beautiful city or a mountain or a beach, all within such easy reach. Just, I don't know anywhere else that really offers that. You have to do an awful lot more traveling to get those different things anywhere else I can think about. But we have that here, and I think it's unique, and I think it's special. You hear people saying that Mallorca is one of the best places in the world to live, and I totally go for that. And when I came here for the first time on a cycling holiday in 2012, I looked around and I thought, this is the place. I need to find a way to come back here again and stay, which I did.
There's something magic about it. I know for myself as well, when I first came here, I went back to Canada for about a year, and there was a pull. And when I came back to Mallorca, there was just something about it that it was like I was home.
Yeah.
And it made you feel that way.
I think it's great when you leave, that, you know, if you leave on holiday to somewhere else on a skiing holiday, then you come back here and this is where you live. And we're forever going out doing things, as you know, and actually we just have to scratch ourselves that this is where we live, this is our life, and we're immensely privileged and lucky to have that.
Now let's talk about housing. And I know, Emma, you are, aside from interior design, right now, I know that you're in the business of buying homes and redoing them and making them absolutely from luxury. I mean, the ultimate in luxury homes, to villas in the country, et cetera. What is the housing market like here? And is it easy to get in? Is it easy to purchase a home and redo? Is there a lot of people like you that are doing that sort of thing?
Yes, I think there probably are quite a few people doing it. We're probably doing it at a slightly different level because we have our investors backing us, which is great and gives you a few more opportunities. I think the housing market, well, it's interesting to see what's happening with COVID. And, you know, we do really need to sit and wait for a few more months. But from what everybody's been saying so far, for houses in particular, it's really, really positive because you've got lots of Scandinavians and, you know, people from Northern Europe are wanting to have a piece of real estate on the island now. And if they were thinking about it before, they're definite about it now. It's just everybody getting here. but it has seemed to stay quite buoyant in that upper end. I'm not sure so much with apartments and things, but certainly if you were looking to buy one, I think the next 6 months is going to be a great time to sort of make your mark on the, to purchase a first apartment or something to that effect, just to get in on the property ladder.
As far as, for luxury homes, compared to the rest of Europe, for example, say the south of France or Monaco, well, Monaco, let's not even talk about Monaco. I'm sure that's very expensive. But as far as price-wise goes, is Mallorca on par with some of the other sort of yachting hubs in Europe?
Well, because I don't really market in those areas, I'm not exactly sure, but I would think that we'd be probably in the higher end. Now, I think Mallorca's distinct from the mainland of Spain and quite comparable to places like Monaco. And I know a lot of people have, moved their second home from Monaco to Mallorca, just purely because they will obviously get a bit more value for money, I expect, but a better lifestyle as well, I think. This is just such a great island. There's so many beaches within, so much to do. It's quite different from being on the mainland anywhere. There's so many more opportunities. I think the airport here, it's international, and I think it's one of the busiest private jet bases in Europe, at least. Definitely very, very busy. So I think that says it all as far as where people are investing.
Sento, one thing I wanted to add, because I know, aside from sailing and aside from working with super yachts and boats, your other career is marketing. And so when most people come here, people do come here single, but other people do come here as couples, and not everybody is both into yachts and into sailing. What is marketing like here in the high end? Some people would assume that if you're into marketing, you have to be in the hubs. You have to be, in London, for example, in New York. Is there quite a market here for people in advertising, et cetera? Because I see a lot of campaigns that are done here.
Yeah, about production, there is like a couple of production companies, and they are doing a lot of things. Like, first, because the weather, like we always have, we know that we have a lot of hours of sun during the year, but also every single spot that you can find, like we were talking about mountains, the landfills, the beaches, the caves. There's many campaigns, like brands like Ferrari, they came here just to record the advertisement, just going through the curves on the highway or on the streets and crossing the small villages that they are protected from UNESCO. About production, there is like a big market here. About more like marketing, I feel like it's growing the marketing with boats here. Like companies like Princess or Michael Smith, he was the owner of Hansen. Now he has another shipyard. They are trying to be established here and produce the advertisement here, and because the yachting community. Yeah.
Hamish, your partner, she is also in real estate.
Correct. Yes.
And she also is sort of in the luxury end of real estate, correct?
Yeah, high-end real estate. She has done other things, but primarily it's that. She's a buyer's agent, so she looks after people who are interested in the island. She was linked with Savills at one stage, but she's independent now. But it's interesting for people coming here, and I think to go to a foreign country and buy a property can be a fairly scary prospect. So she makes that process much easier, and fundamentally she looks after the buyer's interests. So she's objective in helping them understand the island, the different areas and what different areas offer, what they should expect to pay, depending on where they're wanting to be, and then helping them through that process, which includes legal stuff and everything else, but always representing the buyer's interest. So it's a nice thing, and obviously her commissions come from the sale rather than from the buyer. So effectively, it's a free service for them, and one that she's done now for 17 years or so. So she knows the island very well now.
Well, and how easy is the process here? You know, if you come here and you fall in love, like most people do with the island, how easy is it to go through the process of purchasing a home?
I think, again, that's probably a better question for her than me, but I think, you know, there's a lot of agents here who are very good, and there's buyers agents like Amanda. I think compared to other places, it's probably a fairly easy place to go through the process. I don't think the process itself is particularly easy. Emma will certainly know more about that. It's probably a more convoluted process than it is in the UK or what we're used to. But it's certainly, for someone coming here from overseas, there are a lot of people that can help you through that process, for sure. It's well staffed like that, I think.
Emma, your children went to the private schools, through the private school system here, did they?
Yes. Well, Hunter, my eldest, has gone to boarding school in England now for the last few years, and Zachary will probably follow suit as well for his A-levels. But the schools are great here, actually. It's different to the level that you get at boarding schools in the UK, of course, but there's quite a variety, a lot of international schools. That we've certainly got more than enough for the island, and I think that's because a lot of them have actually Spanish kids going to them as well. And yeah, so there's a big variety.
Yeah, I think I know that there is French, there's Spanish, there's French, there's German. Is there a German school here on the island?
Yeah, Swedish, French, German, and yeah, and a lot of the other ones are very international, actually. So
yeah, there's quite a different choice of schools if you're looking to choose a school. There's a large variety if you want private education.
Yes, yeah, there's a lot of private Spanish schools, which in my opinion are really good. I actually think Agora is probably one of the best schools on the island and the most complete. And then you've got a huge choice of English private schools as well, loads of English schools.
Well, and I have to say myself, my kids went to public school system here. And they speak fluent Mallorquin, they speak fluent Spanish, fully integrated, and they were looked after like nobody's business and had probably the best time of their lives in the elementary school system. They're not old enough to be sent away to boarding school or anything like that, but even the public school system here. And I know that friends of mine, when they came over from whatever country they were in, they would have their children into public school here. And the school system provided somebody extra just to help those kids integrate with language skills, et cetera. So it's nice to know that the Spanish system is understanding of that and provides the extra help if needed.
Yeah, to be honest, I think in so many ways you're better off actually going with the Spanish system if you can, and if your children are able to go from the very beginning, because then they're fluent in Catalan and can really feel like they're locals. Whereas I don't think you quite get the same feeling when they're going to the private schools, the private English schools.
Yeah, no, I think there's a culture aspect, because I think you grow up and you know, one thing that I really enjoy, and I'm not sure about the rest of you. I mean, I know, Sento, you're Spanish, so you completely understand this. But one thing I enjoy about the Spanish life, coming from Canada, and we are a little bit more laid back than I would say England or the US, but there's more of a connection to each other in Spain. And Mallorca even more so. The family sort of atmosphere, it's a little bit more laid back. It's not so rush. It's not so, worried about getting bigger and better and bigger and better. It's you can do that, but at the same time, it's really spending a lot more time with family and friends.
Yeah, for sure. It's like the other day I was talking with the captain, with Matt, and he said like, I don't understand why you stop in the at 12 or at 1 just to have 2 hours of lunch. And he has kids, and he saw that like a problem. Like, that's crazy. That I understand. That's not useful. And then I tell him, well, I spent all my childhood with my father and my mother, sit on the table, having lunch every single day with my brothers and sisters. And that's a really good point of this, no? And the quality of life here in Spain or in Mallorca.
Well, and I think too that, the whole concept of family dinners and getting together with people, you don't just go quickly for dinner or grab breakfast on your way, through the drive-through. It's, you see at 6:30 in the morning, the Spanish workwomen sitting together in restaurants and having coffee and having what are those drinks called with the Amazonian rum?
Carajillo.
At 6:30 in the morning, they're having a little calajillo. Sometimes I have to laugh and I say the reason that most Spanish houses aren't exactly level is because they've had too much calajillo in the morning. They're going to work. But it's, the lifestyle here, I think, is a lot more laid back, and people are, I don't know, I feel just a bit kinder to each other.
Well, I have to answer that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's something about Spain or about the island, or maybe because we are from the Mediterranean Sea. But yeah, we enjoy to just join with some friends, like having a beer, with no rush, like talking and ask about the family and how's it going. And sometimes, or many of the times, it's like, you really care about, tell me about your problems. Like, I want to know, no? And you open yourself to your friends and family. And yeah, I think, well, for me, it's normal, no? But I can understand that maybe people from, I don't know, New York or Paris or Madrid coming here is like, wow, I mean, I'm missing the traffic jams. Like, there's no many traffic jams here, no? Everything goes slow.
So as far as I'm assuming you rent here on the island.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And how do you find the rental market? Is that fairly easy to get into? Is it expensive? Is it not expensive?
Well, it's more expensive than the mainland, less expensive than Madrid or Barcelona. But it's pretty easy. I mean, there is many kind of apartments, unit. I'm in a house. And now I'm living in a possession. I'm sharing with some friends, because there are many young people, or not that young, that they are in the same situation like me, like single with no family, and they spend the time in the same house. And I mean, I think many years ago, like sharing a house, it was like something like, no, I just want to have my house, no? And nowadays it's like the people want to share, no? Because they came home and you have someone to talk.
Hamish, I know we spoke about the fact that you and Amanda do tend to travel quite a bit around the island and really enjoy it. What is your favorite place on the island and why?
Oh, that's a really tough question to answer. I think the place that I love going to again and again is Formentor Beach. I just think that bay is just so pretty, and Cap Formentor as well. I just think that's lovely. I love going down to Sacalobra, because whether that's on a motorbike or in a fast car, that's an incredible road on a global scale. It's an absolutely incredible road. There's too many places, then there's too much, not too much, there's just so much diversity that you can experience just completely different things. I find that East is a completely different feeling from where we live here in the West. I think the East Coast is beautiful. Yeah, the diversity is incredible. But the place I go back to again and again, which I just absolutely love, is that stretch out to Formentor. I think it's something else, incredible. Everyone should see it. It's absolutely amazing.
And what is your favorite restaurant on the island?
Oh, that's another incredibly difficult one. I've been yeah, we go out a lot, and to pin it down to one restaurant is incredibly difficult. There's a little cafe which I absolutely love at Port of Shoal called Mocha, M-O-K-A. And it's a tiny little cafe, and I've gone there a few times, and every time I've been there, it's been stunning, absolutely gorgeous. But I love the, oh, I can't remember. It's the posh tapas bar. And what's track in Spanish? Sento. What's track?
Track?
Yeah.
Like a track?
Yeah.
Rail?
Say again?
Rail.
No, there's yeah, it's a name for track. So there's a tapas bar in Palma, which is behind the McDonald's, which is not one of my favorite restaurants. And that's stunning. And I'm going to try and remember the name. I've got it written down.
El Camino.
Camino, that's
El
it.
Camino, yeah.
Great. I love it.
It's Spanish. That was a brain block
Beautiful.
rather than lack of Spanish. But I think again for what they pass across the counter there, I think that is something else. And I've had English people, English mates coming over from London who live it up in London quite hard, and they've gone there and they said this is something else. You know, they've been really amazed by the food in there and plenty of other places in Palma. We're spoiled for choice for good restaurants all over the island, but particularly in Palma.
I think El Camino is one of the best places to go if you're hungry and you're on your own as well,
Yeah.
because you can sit at the bar. And no, it's great. It's a great place.
What is your favorite place, Emma?
Mine, oh my gosh, like Hamish, there's so many. The first one that I always, if I have guests on the island and I want to show, you know, I want them to see Mallorca in, I don't know, I always have to take them to Hotel Bandanat. I love I just think it's got a little bit of everything going on there. And I have to think about it for the other favorites, but that's probably one of my favorite places to take people on a nice sunny day. And the food's amazing, great location. You can swim if you want to, you know.
It's got everything.
It's got everything. Everything I need.
So Sento, where would you go for the best lamb on the island?
For the best lamb,
Yep.
there is a restaurant on top of the mountain, like close to a monastery. And you have to go with the car, with the motorbike, and just like it's really steep, like road. And at the end is this restaurant, like it's like, I don't know, it has to be there for ages, like with a chimney inside, packed of people, like local people with some ships and around the restaurant. And they always tell you like, wait, and they give you like a box of peanuts to weigh with the beer or whatever. And that's a really good spot to have the lamb. And also after you have this lamb, you can go walking to the very top of the mountain up to this monastery or this tower and enjoy the views. Really good place.
And I can tell, Hamish, you've been there.
I have, yeah. Esveger at Alaro,
Esveger.
commonly known as the Lamb Restaurant. Everyone just calls it the Lamb Restaurant, but it's actually called Esveger, and it's above Alaro. And as Sento says, you can walk from there 45 minutes or so up to the refuge at the top, and it's a cracking view, and you can walk off a bit of that lamb that you've just put in. It's stunning. It's a wonderful place. It can get very, very busy, particularly in the summer. I think it's a better winter Sunday lunch venue or any day of the week. But it's to me, it's a winter restaurant rather than a summer restaurant. But it's well worth the trip, and it's a very bumpy. It's better on a motorbike than a car. There was a gridlock up there the other day. Apparently, with a lot of hikers, there was a gridlock up there the other day, and people were stuck up there for a couple of hours with their cars because they had to take it out like a jigsaw. It got too busy.
It's too narrow.
You can walk from Alaro or go up on a bike, but you can go up in a car to the restaurant. But it's a nice walk all the way. Just go all the way by foot. Brilliant.
You've been there as well, Emma.
Many times. I think it's one of the first places that I went to on the island. Absolutely. It's another one for the guests, but as Hamish says, I think more so in the winter, and I highly recommend walking up there.
I've never been, so I've heard stories about it. I
You
know.
will.
I
You live so
know.
close.
Let's
Okay,
go.
we're taking you. I think I've been up there with, I'm sure with you, Hamish, but definitely with Amanda.
Yeah.
I've hiked up there with Amanda.
Yeah. And there's
Well,
good climbing. Sento at the top, there's a great climbing wall at the top if you want to go and try some of that too.
Oh, no, I haven't tried that. Okay, it's a date. We'll all go.
we're going together. You're going to have to
Yeah,
show me.
that's it.
Let's
You know,
do
I've
that.
heard all about the lamb up there, and I'm a bit of a lamb fan myself. So one of these days, and I'm a bit of
Okay.
a food fan myself, but lamb is really good too.
If you don't eat meat, as I don't, the prawns
Yeah.
are fantastic.
Yeah.
The gambas is actually always great. Maybe not so fresh, but I mean, it's fresh. Maybe they're frozen, but they're always great.
Well, and that's the nice thing too about the island is that even if you are, say, for example, vegan, you know, one of the things that we see really sweeping across the world is there's more and more veganism. And people are afraid when they come to an island that they're not going to have options, but that's not true because Mallorca has a ton of options here. We have, you know, many restaurants that cater for the vegan and vegetarian here on the island, and even those that aren't specifically vegan or vegetarian, they do have options, as it were. I'm correct in assuming so?
Yeah, absolutely right. My other half, Amanda, she's a pescatarian, mostly vegetarian, but occasionally pescatarian as well. And there's a ton of choice, and there's lots of places that are really driving this the very healthy agenda, and some people producing some beautiful vegan food in vegan restaurants as well. Absolutely.
Well, from the sounds of it, I think all three of you would highly recommend working and living right here in Mallorca or in the Balearics. Yes?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Definitely.
Well, you've heard from the experts, or the experts that I could pull together, and I've got some swing, so I think I got the best of the best. Thank you all so very much. Of course, Hamish from E3 Systems.
Thank you, Rhea.
Right. And Sento, sailor and marketing advertising. We thank you for your time. And Captain and Sailor Racer and Single, ladies, we'll provide this information below. And Emma, thank you ever so much again for your time and telling us about what it's like to raise a family here on the island and the things that you do as well. And we'll provide your information too, in case anybody is looking to move here and wants the best interior designer on the island to redesign their home for them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you once again. You've been watching the panel Working and Living in the Balearics. We thank you ever so much for joining us. We thank our esteemed panel of guests, and don't leave just yet because you're going to have to look around the rest of the Balearic Yacht Show. There's lots to see and lots to do in between the different panels that we have going on. So do be sure to check it out. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.